safer world is possible, and together we can and will make it happen. Thank you.
When you show up in community, you find that group that makes you feel like home, but oftentimes you also find yourself again.
The point is that the royal family is not ready to do the needful. What they're trying to do with this tour is to recreate and bask in the glory of the British Empire. And these former colonized Caribbean nations are not having any of it. There are three things they need to focus on. And the royal family and this government is not ready to do that. And that's truth, reconciliation, and justice. Truth means acknowledging the ugliness and the benefit, the wealth that he got off the backs of enslaved black people. Reconciliation starts with an apology, which the royal family is refusing to do. And justice is reparations. Reparations were given to the slave owners, but not to the enslaved. So this is what we're talking about. All of this, if they're not ready to do that, what the heck are they going there for? Let me tell you this. They say that they're going there to celebrate the culture, future, and vibrancy of the islands. How insulting and disingenuous.
Well, the future, that's the point.
Please, they don't need the royal family to come celebrate them. They're celebrating themselves, but by themselves. What they need and what should be done, not because they need it, but the right thing to do is for the royal family to address truth, justice, and reconciliation.
There's a time and place for everything. And this particular tour is to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. She has loved the Commonwealth ever since she became Queen. It's a very long time, 70 years. And I think that these things, for once, must be put on one side, and it should be a glorious warm feeling between the Caribbean and the UK. I mean, when Catherine and William went to Belize, there was this demonstration, which was very embarrassing for them. So they moved away from where they were to an entirely different place. So there became another demonstration for people who were very upset that they'd been missed out, that looked forward to seeing the royal couple for a long time. And they were very unhappy that they moved away. So if the whole thing is cancelled, if the whole thing is cancelled, it means there's going to be an awful lot of people who love the royal family, particularly love the Queen, and they will feel that they've missed out for no good reason.
Angela, are you not embarrassed? Are you not embarrassed? No. You should be embarrassed. I mean, you talk about there should be a warm feeling.
Hang on, Angela.
You talk about there should be a warm feeling. For who and from whom? You talk about, well, there's a certain thing at a certain time, and we should prioritize. You want to prioritize white supremacy over people's lives.
You just
let me finish. I've not lost an argument. This is the point. No, I'm going to finish because I let her finish, so I'm going to respond.
Right.
This is the point. The people in these countries are talking about the experiences that they've had. They are the descendants of the enslaved. You don't tell them, oh, put aside your feeling and be warm and receive, and glorify the Queen. That is wrong. And that's why I'm saying you should be embarrassed.
Ian wants to speak.
You see, when you use these terms like white supremacy about a royal tour, you completely lose the argument. Whatever value your other arguments are, it disappears when you go to the...
Of course you would say that.
You can choose her words.
No, I don't need to. Listen, I'm speaking the truth, which you would like to call being ambivalent with the truth. I'm speaking the truth. No, it's not just my truth. It's the truth of the Caribbean people. It's the truth of colonized African nations. Because British Empire is all about white supremacy.
It's about discussion. Are you going to allow me to have a word? Are you going to allow me to have a word, Shola?
Of course, I have. I heard, and that's why I'm responding.
Pause. Come on.
I mean, seriously, this is not the way. This is not the way to debate.
Don't police tone what I'm responding back to you.
Here we go.
Let Shola just handbrake on. Let Ian speak, and then we'll let you come back in.
This is as Angela rightly says, this is a visit to mark the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. You will admit that there are lots of people in the Caribbean who would like to celebrate this. There are people...
No.
You don't think there's anybody in the Caribbean
I mean,
that would like to celebrate the Queen's
You didn't say anybody.
Jubilee?
You said lots of people. They've
Yeah,
got
there would
councils
be lots of people
in the Caribbean nations who have been trying to address the issue of reparations for years.
Yeah.
They're not interested
And
in
that, that's a legitimate, debate.
I want to bring
have.
in Angela just a moment. Angela, when William and Kate walked into that row, it did show, didn't it, that we here are a little bit unsighted on some of the things that Shola's talking about. We're a bit out of touch with it.
Yeah, I think that if what she's saying is true, and I think she should be very careful what she says, because I know she's very anti-monarchy in the first place. But if what she's saying is true, there would be no Commonwealth left. There are 54 members who want to join the Commonwealth. They are there because they want to. There's no things that they have to do. They get together and they talk and they sort out issues that they have. And even those who've become Republican want to stay within the Commonwealth. Now, that is because they like the Queen and they like the royal family. It can't be any other way. They could all go
whitewashing. Even Prince Harry talked about that it is important for the Commonwealth to recognise its roots and legacy, or the royal family to do that.
But these countries are voluntarily members of the Commonwealth. None of them have left.
Aside. This cannot be
all right, Shola.
aside.
Why don't they leave? Why don't they leave? Why don't they leave then? Why don't all of these West Indian islands leave?
Shola and Ian,
just about the Commonwealth.
Angela, sorry.
It's about going to this country.
This is like turning up at a party
and celebrating the British Empire. There is no British Empire. Nobody's interested in the white supremacy that British Empire.
We need to take calls.
Hello there, and a warm welcome to Sussexful. I'm your host, Emma, and as always, thank you for joining us on the channel that proudly stands with Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Sussexful, your home for truth, fairness, and unwavering support for the Sussexes. Now, on today's video, we're diving into an explosive on-air showdown. Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu takes Angela Levin to school in a fiery debate over Meghan and Harry. Dr. Shola's passion, her courage, and her commitment to calling out hypocrisy never failed to shake up the conversation. And today was no exception. As some critics tried to twist the narrative, Dr. Shola stood firm, unapologetic, articulate, and fearless. We love your bravery, Dr. Shola. Blessings to you always. Dr. Shola's explosive showdown over Meghan and Harry. Dr. Shola's impassioned defense of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex was a masterclass in righteous indignation. Unafraid to challenge the status quo, Shola boldly called out the biases and double standards that have plagued the media's coverage of Meghan and Harry. With unwavering conviction, Shola argued that the same scrutiny and criticism faced by the royal couple is rooted in the lingering legacy of colonialism, drawing parallels between their treatment and the reluctance of Caribbean nations to leave the Commonwealth. Shola refused to mince words, condemning the underlying racism that has fueled much of the backlash. Shola's unapologetic stance and willingness to speak truth to power resonated with those who have long championed the cause of racial justice and equity within the royal family and beyond. Shola's perspective. Shola's views on the Caribbean countries and the Commonwealth are clear and unapologetic. She believes that these nations have been unfairly treated and exploited by the colonial powers that once ruled them. Shola argues passionately that the time has come for the Caribbean to break free from the shackles of the Commonwealth, an institution she sees as a vestige of a bygone era. Her stance on the Meghan and Harry situation is equally forceful. She sees their treatment by the royal family as emblematic of the systemic racism that continues to plague the institution. Shola's bravery in speaking truth to power has earned her the admiration of many, but also the ire of those who seek to uphold the status quo. Levin bristled at Shola's pointed commentary, her brow furrowing in a mix of frustration and disagreement. While she respected Shola's passion, She simply could not reconcile the professor's scathing criticisms with her own understanding of the complex issues at hand. In Levin's view, the situation with Harry and Meghan was far more nuanced than Shola's uncompromising stance suggested. She believed that reducing it to a matter of race and colonial legacies oversimplified the deeply personal dynamics at play. Levin felt that Shola's fiery rhetoric, though compelling, failed to grapple with the full context and divergent perspectives on this divisive topic. As the debate continued to simmer, Levin steeled herself to respectfully but firmly articulate her own perspective, determined to ensure a balanced and thoughtful dialogue. Shola faced a barrage of accusations of racism, with critics quick to label her comments as prejudiced and intolerant. However, the outspoken commentator staunchly defended herself, insisting that her criticisms were not rooted in racial animus, but rather a principled opposition to the actions and behavior of certain individuals. Shola maintained that her stance had nothing to do with the race or ethnicity of those involved, but was instead a matter of addressing what she saw as inappropriate conduct. She argued passionately that her views were based on objective analysis, not subjective biases, and challenged her detractors to engage with the substance of her arguments rather than resorting to ad hominem attacks. Dr. Shola Mos-Shogbamimu did not mince words in her defense of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, Meghan and Harry. She directly challenged the biases and criticisms leveled against the couple, deftly pointing out the racist undertones that often surface in the discourse around them. Shola argued that the issues faced by Meghan and Harry are reflective of deeper systemic problems, and that the reluctance of some Commonwealth nations to sever ties with the monarchy is more a result of political and economic considerations rather than any genuine loyalty. Her spirited commentary highlighted the need to examine these debates through an unvarnished lens, free from the baggage of preconceived notions and double standards. Dr. Shola has presented a compelling case for Caribbean countries to reconsider their membership in the Commonwealth. Her arguments stem from the complex and often troubled history between the Caribbean nations and the British Empire. Many of these countries were once colonial territories, subjected to oppression and exploitation. Shola contends that maintaining ties to the Commonwealth is a continuation of this legacy, keeping the Caribbean economically and politically beholden to the former colonial power. The implications of such a move could be far-reaching, potentially allowing these nations to forge a more independent path, free from the perceived constraints of the Commonwealth. This could involve renegotiating trade agreements, asserting greater control over their resources, and amplifying their collective voice on the global stage. However, the decision to leave the Commonwealth would not be without its challenges, as it could disrupt established diplomatic and economic relationships. Nonetheless, Shola's perspective has sparked an important dialogue about the Caribbean's right to self-determination and the ongoing need to address the lingering effects of colonialism. The public response to the showdown between Dr. Shola and Angela Levin has been, well, decidedly mixed. Some have praised Dr. Shola's bravery and outspoken stance, really applauding her willingness to directly challenge the narrative surrounding Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. These supporters see Dr. Shola as standing up for important issues of racism and post-colonial power dynamics within the Commonwealth. However, others have accused Dr. Shola of being racist herself, arguing that her comments have nothing to do with Harry and Meghan and are instead reflective of a divisive agenda. The debate has become intensely polarized, with little middle ground as people take strong stances either defending or condemning Dr. Shola's explosive confrontation. The media's reporting on this incident has been, honestly, nothing short of explosive. Outlets have really seized upon the confrontational nature of the exchange, sensationalizing the clash of perspectives and personalities involved. There are concerns that the narrative may overshadow the substantive issues being raised, reducing it all to a mere spectacle. However, if handled thoughtfully, this media scrutiny could also serve to elevate important discussions around decolonization, racial justice, and the role of public figures in addressing complex socio-political challenges. The true impact remains to be seen, but it's clear that this exchange has struck a nerve and captured the public's attention in a way that demands careful, nuanced consideration from all involved. Shola's bold confrontation with Angela Levin has ignited a much broader discussion surrounding race, the monarchy, and the legacy of colonialism. Her unapologetic defense of Meghan Markle and Harry's decision to step back has resonated with many who feel the British establishment has failed to reckon with its own biases and privilege. The potential long-term effects of this showdown could be far-reaching, potentially inspiring other Commonwealth nations to re-evaluate their ties to the Crown and challenge the monarchical system's inability to evolve with the times. Shola's willingness to speak truth to power has struck a chord, galvanizing those who believe the time has come for meaningful change in how the institution of the monarchy grapples with issues of diversity and inclusion. The debate between Dr. Shola and Angela Levin highlighted the complex and sensitive nature of the issues surrounding the British monarchy, the Commonwealth, and the Sussexes. While their viewpoints differed sharply, the exchange underscored the need for open and thoughtful dialogue on these matters. Ultimately, the significance of this event lies in its ability to shed light on the diverse perspectives and experiences that shape the ongoing conversations around the monarchy's role and legacy, both within the UK and across the Commonwealth nations. As these discussions continue, it's crucial that all voices are heard and considered, in pursuit of greater understanding and progress.